when you need to know. It's the Todd Veinotte Show on CityNews 95.7.
All right, residential property assessments are up almost 11% in Nova Scotia, more than 13% in Halifax. And a lot of people are upset about this, and rightfully so, as they await what the property tax will fall, where that might potentially go. And it's been talked about or floated as high as almost 6%, although council and HRM says, for the most part, councillors say it'll be less than that. Nonetheless, joining us to talk about all of this is our mortgage guru, Clinton Wilkins. Clinton, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Todd. How are you doing?
I'm well, you?
I'm doing well. Just watching a little bit of snow fly by, and, it's January, so some people have had the blues, and I heard the other day it was Blue Monday, so hopefully this, the tax situation, the assessments don't have everybody down, but it's definitely a hot topic. Yeah,
absolutely. So I guess it's inevitable when you have property values going up. Let everybody know how this all works. It's not the municipality that sets the assessment, obviously, because that would be a conflict. But let everybody know how this works, how this works, and who does it.
So in Nova Scotia, we have a corporation called Property Valuation Services, and they set the assessment. And the assessment is what the municipality uses to calculate how much tax you owe on your property. And the way that the Property Valuation Assessment Corporation works is typically they lag behind several years. So although we're seeing, 11, 13% plus increases in the property values, the value that's showing on the assessment is actually what's represented from a value of 2, 3, 4 years ago. So I suspect in the coming years, due to obviously the increases that everyone has, benefited from, we're going to see the assessments go up even more in the coming years. So I think that's something to take into account. This is not the last year that we're going to see an assessment, Todd.
Yeah.
I would expect that we're going to see increases in this amount or more for, the next several years. So this is really just the tip of the iceberg.
So you're saying these assessments aren't based on what's going on now, they're based on what was happening years ago? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's basically based on what was happening 2, 3, 4 years ago. So they're behind in kind of those valuation increases, which is good in a sense that, it gives us a little bit of time to prepare, Todd. There's nothing like, a 30% increase or a 50% increase in your assessment, because obviously that would be quite detrimental to several households. So we're going to see some slow increases, and 10, 11% increase in the assessment is a lot less than what the actual real property value is if you were to sell your home or potentially refinance your home. That value increase probably more than that 10, 11, 13% that you're seeing in your assessment.
Are there some types of legislation that limits how much the assessment can go up, or is it sky's the limit, whatever this company deems?
Sky's the limit. Now, you can obviously challenge your assessment. There is a process to do that through Property Valuation Services, and sometimes, you might have a lever that you can do that. Obviously, if you get an appraisal on your property and the appraisal comes in less than the assessment, that's really good, evidence to maybe seek a reduction in the assessed value. By and large, though, Todd, the assessments in Nova Scotia are very, very low compared to the property values. So I think that's one thing to take into account. We see sometimes properties that have assessments at $300,000 that are selling at $600,000. So you're only paying tax sometimes on a portion of what the real property value is. So I think that's something to think about. The one thing that we're doing with our clients, we deal with mortgage lending all day, every day. That's our core business. And the one thing that we're doing is we're really trying to decouple the tax account from the mortgage. Obviously, lenders don't do a great job at handling it anyway, Todd, but where the assessments are really going up very quickly, and we expect for them to continue to go up quickly, in the next several years, and the tax rates in many municipalities are increasing, like what you mentioned. Many borrowers are going to be in a shortfall position in their tax account. So I think if the listeners do have a mortgage and they do currently have their lender managing that tax account for them, you need to expect that you're going to be in a shortfall position. And that can be really handled in two ways. You can either do a lump sum payment into that tax account to basically bring it to zero and cover the shortfall. The lender is still going to increase your payment to take into account the increase in that tax bill. The other thing that you need to think about, if you don't do that lump sum payment, the lender needs to collect the shortfall, but they also have to collect the new increased tax rate. So many borrowers are going to see their portion of their mortgage payment really go up very significantly in terms of what's going on with their property tax account.
All right, so who's responsible for doing all of this? Is it the client has to call the mortgage or has to call the bank to proactively make these adjustments, or who's ultimately
normally
responsible?
What would happen is if the borrower doesn't make any action, doesn't take any action in trying to remedy the issue,
yes,
the lenders will automatically adjust the mortgage payment. So they'll arbitrarily adjust it to cover the shortfall and the increase in the property tax. So one day you may just see your payment go up significantly that comes out of your bank account.
Wow.
And sometimes we get the calls and we try to be proactive. We try to especially email anybody who we've done a mortgage for in the last several months when the property tax bills start coming out. It's the one thing that people forget about. Obviously, when you're buying a new home, there's so many moving parts, Todd, even just between the closing costs and inspections and all these things. And we hope that the mortgage piece is the easiest piece, but people often forget about the property taxes. Borrowers are really bad at opening their mail. I can tell you I'm the same. I don't love opening my mail. A lot of stuff comes online, but your property tax bill, comes from the municipality in the mail. And in Halifax, it says Halifax rate on it. It's blue. But if you don't open your mail, and if you're required to pay it, or your lender is required to pay it, and it's not paid, you'll then get a notice. And I think oftentimes those notices are green. And I can tell you, I've seen many borrowers that, either forget to pay or don't have the ability to pay, or it's supposed to go to their lender. And it takes a long time for the lender and the municipality to connect to update who the mortgagee is on the title. So sometimes there's a delay on getting that first property tax bill to your lender if the lender is collecting the property taxes on your behalf. So if you, bought a home this year or in the last 12 months, even if your lender is paying the property taxes on your behalf, you should open your mail. Because on the property tax bill, it'll say if it's been sent to your lender, and it'll say this is not a bill, don't pay it, it's been sent to your lender, and it will say who your lender is. If you don't see that on your property tax bill, you're probably responsible for paying it, or you need to manually send it into your lender to be paid. The one thing you want to look at is you want to see how much money is in your tax account. So if you don't have enough money in your tax account at your lender to pay that bill, you are going to be in that shortfall, and you're either going to have to do that one-time payment to bring it right, or your lender is going to cover the shortfall and the increased amount. Probably in the next 6 months, you're going to see a big kind of increase in your mortgage payment.
Clinton, always a wealth of information. Thanks so much. We'll be chatting tomorrow as well, late in the show with the Bank of Canada coming out with their, and I've heard interest rates are going up. Have you heard that as well, quickly?
I don't know. I think we will see tomorrow, Todd. Certainly a lot of economists are thinking there's going to be an increase tomorrow.
Yeah, with inflation.
I'm on the fence if there's an increase or not. CIBC actually came out, their chief economist, Benjamin Tall, saying that he's not so sure that they're going to increase it tomorrow. So I know there's going to be a lot of people watching. We certainly will be watching the announcement tomorrow at 11 a.m. And then I'll be live with you in the afternoon, and we'll do a deep dive into what's going on with the economy, Bank of Canada, and, I think there'll be a lot of focus on what's going on here with inflation.
Great stuff, Clinton. Appreciate it as always. Talk tomorrow.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, take care. Clinton Wilkins, our mortgage guru.